Hi, my name is Cheryl Camarillo, and I'm a licensed clinical social worker. I just thought I would jump in here and actually make a few comments about why it's so important for your partner to get the whole truth. Now, I know that sounds pretty scary, but let me just start with if you've betrayed her, why telling the whole truth is the first real act of love. You might think keeping some details to yourself is protecting her, but when you don't tell the truth, her brain fills in the blanks with something even worse. Your first act of real love after betrayal is not calming her down, it's giving her reality, even if it scares you. Um, I just started thinking like one of the hardest parts of working with my clients that have these issues with infidelity, sex addiction, betrayal trauma is the need for setting the foundation of truth and honesty. I usually teach about the intimacy pyramid, and at the very bottom of the pyramid, the part that's like anchoring the whole pyramid, is this whole concept of being able to. Sorry, there's notes that popped up on here. Um, the reason that you need to make sure that that she gets the truth. I know what it is that's going on in your head. It's like I've already hurt her. I'm already in a lot of crisis. She's in crisis. Why would I keep scooping on more problems to something that's already out of control? And I'm just gonna say that, I agree with you. If it's already out of control, maybe you don't need to do that right now. Maybe you need to find yourself, somebody that specializes in helping with disclosure. I will say, though, that when they ask you questions, try to answer them at the time. It gives them a little bit of peace. Now, some get stuck, in repeat mode, and that has nothing to do with not what that really has to do with is their nervous system's been traumatized, and the only way that they can calm it down is by searching for answers, and so their system is shut down, they're trying to process what's going on. They've gone into fight, flight, or freeze, like nothing is making sense to them. Just think about it. They woke up one day and out of nowhere, the happy family, the pre-existing reality, the life before discovery was a pretty good life. There weren't any concerns. There weren't, maybe there was a little disruption or, problem in how the relationship was going, but it didn't mean that it was at the brink of a crisis. I'm trying to think, like, there's a lot of different, things to think about when you're hearing the repetitive questions, and the types of questions. Sometimes the types of questions are concerning because they're asking for names, they're asking for, times and dates, they're asking for a variety of things. And if you do start answering questions and it's just like one at a time, when she asks the first question, it's a piece here plus an extra piece, and then it's another truth here, and then another truth piled on top of that. It just proves to her that she has to keep digging. So that's why there are things out there called formal disclosure. Some of my clients, desperately want formal disclosure, and some of my clients say, "No way, I don't want to do that." Out of respect for my clients, I try to listen to what it is that they need, and I make sure that if they need something more, like the disclosure, that I assist them through that. And the formal disclosure is actually the list of anything that might have been occurring during the relationship that involved secretiveness and deception. And when it's been going on for a length of time, they really want all the details so they can try and put the whole puzzle together. To them, this is, agonizing. I occasionally get a partner that comes in and says, "I was with this person 10 years. I was with this person 30 years. How could I not know that this was going on?" So they start having a lot of negative statements about themselves, and then they start demanding answers because they're trying to find out, like, what was the cause of this and how do they keep themselves safe. Right now, they're not safe. Right now, they're just thinking, "My world is gone." And, for you as the partner that, carried the secrets, it's overwhelming to you. It makes you anxious. It makes you feel like this is a problem that's gonna just keep getting worse and worse. And I wanna let you know that if you and your partner go out and find somebody that specializes in this, it might really help the situation. I am actually a certified sex addiction therapist, and I also specialize in couples that are dealing with this. So, if you wanted to look up people in your area, there's there's a website called itaap.com, and what they have on there is a therapist search. So you put in your state or city, and it'll tell you who's in your location. Why would you want somebody like that? Because they already understand the dynamics that's going on, and they don't have to spend time stumbling around trying to figure out the whole, situation. I know that I've had enough experience that when I, first interview someone, I tell exactly where I need to ask questions. I can start the whole process of assessment, and then, start the process of looking at how the couple's working together, if the couple are coming in, or if it's just an individual, like the betrayed partner or the partner that, was carrying the secrets. I get to know them individually, and I try to do their own assessments. And then I meet with them again after I've met with each of them, and I try to figure out what's going on with communication patterns, how sensitive are they to each other, are they invested in making changes? So, my role is just actually to help and to use the experience that I've gotten along the way to speed some of this process up. Now, is there such a thing as speed this process up? No. This process takes time, and it can go more quickly than other, people, but a lot of that has to do with the depth of the betrayal. It also has to do with the commitment to make change. It also has to do with if the partner that's, betrayed is coming forward and genuinely wanting to show up as authentic, as being, transparent, and as being truthful. By truthful, I mean anytime she asks a question, you make sure that you try to answer it to the best of your ability. If, um, another thing is the transparency, and people don't understand the transparency piece. Transparency means give her some tools so that she can be reassured when she suddenly gets the response of where's my husband or where's my wife. If a person is having those responses, they need a way to calm themselves down, and the easiest way is to quickly check the phone, like picking up the phone and checking the location, picking up the phone while you're there and going in and checking social media, gaining access to passwords. Maybe that you're putting some type of app on the phone to control access to adult content, explicit adult content. Um, yeah, so there's a variety of things, and a lot of men get very frustrated with the idea that they have to do something like that. They don't have to do anything. You don't have to do anything. But will it help her in her healing? Yes. Is she going to want to do that? No. So the more quickly that you are past this piece and working on building transparency, the more quickly it comes back to you being able to move through your days without receiving a lot of questions, because she can automatically check, or he can automatically check the location, Life 360, etc. So the other thing that really helps is sometimes the transparency might be something as simple as you called and said you were stopping by Walmart, and when she checked the Life 360, you were actually at some other location down the street. Um, Maybe you actually went to a grocery store, a different grocery store, because you knew that something you needed was in another grocery store. So, or a specialty store. Maybe you were going to the liquor store or whatever. Like being able to shift like that is important, But in the beginning, it's really, helpful if you just text and say, decided to go to HEB or decided to go to Walgreens instead of, Walmart. It has nothing to do with asking permission and more to do with helping her brain settle down, or his brain settle down. So, um, you know, having access to the phone, there's this level of wanting privacy, and, as an individual, that is really important, but that needs to actually be built up. The trust level needs to increase. The more honesty and truthfulness that occurs, the better it is for the partner, and they're able to just loosen up. So the the truthfulness factor, I have to say, that's really difficult if you've been, running a second life. That second life is covering up everything with secrets, trying to, make sure that, you don't get found out. It's a big, process, even though you've been doing it for a while, or maybe you did it once. Being able to go in and talk to your partner about things and be more honest about things, the better. I think I lost, track there. Um, so I always ask, the person that betrayed, like, how many times did they think they might not have told me the truth during the session? And I just have to be real honest. I'm not there for judgment. I'm not there to, try to determine, if they're liars. My concern is they're struggling. My concern is their relationship is going through, the ringer. My concern is your partner is, not doing well. So I, I just need the truth simply because it's the beginning, pieces of your work. So so I highly encourage you, if you find yourself, not telling the truth in therapy, just check more closely and try to figure out why it is that you don't trust the therapist. Um, I know that I work in a systems type format. I get to know both partners. I, possibly also see the partners in their group sessions, and so it gives me a clear idea about where some of the stress points are. I don't do that with every couple. There's some couples that are in so much conflict, and are clearly undecided about where the relationship is going. So don't I don't encourage intensive couples work. The couples work in the beginning needs to be more along the lines of what are the boundaries, what are the needs for safety, how do you communicate the needs as far as raising children if you are co-parenting together. How do you plan to move forward with sobriety and recovery? Um, you know, Also checking to make sure that, as a partner that's experiencing this betrayal, that they definitely seek out their own support system individually. Does that mean there's something wrong with the partner? Actually, all it means is this person has experienced a trauma. So, like a person that's been in a hurricane, when your house gets washed away, you're in a lot of shock, you're in a lot of pain, you're grieving. And it's kind of the same thing with discovering betrayal. So, I think I was talking about pre existing reality. Um, One of the struggles, if you are a person that has been acting out, seeking out contact with other people, or wor- working, working with, OnlyFans or pornography, when you're not at home, like those things are, they're a different reality. There's certainly things that she or he didn't know was going on, to the extent maybe that the problem was. I really think it's important to recognize that there is or has been a manipulated, reality, And the important piece after, you know, satisfying that bottom layer of truth and honesty has to do with, um, the in addition to the authenticity, is being able to show up and being able to provide safety. Sorry, it's a little windy here in my office. So, um, yeah, I'm thinking like what other kind of questions would partners have? I think the goal is you're moving from manipulation to authentic reality. You're trying to help your brain reset with what really needs to be happening in your relationship. Your partner is trying to reset his or her brain for the reality of the relationship. So, yeah, I think this was just a start. I'll try to pop back in here a couple of times throughout the next week. This is just the start of doing more types of live streams. Thank you. Mm. I think I also forgot to say that I do encourage you to subscribe. I also want you to look in the descriptions. I have a Substack with a lot of blogs and notes on there. So if you want to go and subscribe on there, I'll also be doing mini lives over in that area. But some of the things that I've written um, resemble or match what I'm talking about in the YouTube lives. But I just want to encourage you to go over to the Substack. Also, there's some other links on there if you're interested in doing more intensive coaching type of things. So give me a give me a holler if you need more information. This is going to be all for you. Really, I just want to pour in everything that I know and I've learned and the experiences so that I can help you get over over the crisis hill and over to the other side where you're working towards healing of yourself and your partner and your relationship and your family, all four of those things. So